Hello everybody, Storm here. Welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV Online Shadowbringers. In the last episode, we've returned to the game to run through the Wurlit storyline, which involves the Imperial Weapons program that we kind of ran into when we were escaping the Imperial Palace's Astinian a while ago, back during an Echo flashback. And so, the Empire has sent the first of these weapons into the field against the Eorzean Alliance, which was the Ruby weapon, so we had to fight it and defeat it, which we did. And then there was this scene with these Alra orphans that Gaius had apparently taken in a while ago, and they were none too happy that Gaius appears to have defected to the Eorzean Alliance. So we'll see where that ends up going. And yeah, all these weapons that we're going to be encountering in this storyline are Final Fantasy VII references, Ruby weapon in particular. And also, interestingly, the Imperial Legion that is in command of the weapons program is the 7th Imperial Legion. So a little nod there as well. Alright, so we're going to continue working on this quest line. We're going to have a little chat here with Gaius, figure out what's going on and what the next steps are going to be. Cid. Well, Gaius Van Baelsar, we meet again. Come to see how your precious weapon project has been proceeding in your absence, have you? You are come to collect data on the Ruby weapon, correct? The pilot, Melisandre, should still be inside the cockpit. I will ask Vaudelin to escort you to the wreckage. Any idea who this Melisandre is? An Imperial crony of his, perhaps? Not exactly. It's basically one of his kids. One of the orphans? Gaius always did have an eye for talent and a mind to nurture it. In fact, Livius Junius was another protege of his. He even took me under his wing when my father became obsessed with the Meteor Project. It's strange that I felt closer to Gaius and did my own flesh and blood. Then my father and countless others lost their lives in the Bozja incident. Although he was acting under Emperor Solus's orders, he masterminded the whole thing. I begged him to reconsider, to put an end to this madness, but my words fell on deaf ears. That's why I turned to Gaius for support. But he was as much a pawn of the Emperor as my father, and refused to intervene. When my turn came to serve, I defected and fled to Eorzea. I blamed Gaius as much as any of them, perhaps even more, for the barbaric acts carried out in the name of conquest, but when we met at the Praetorium, all the hatred that had been festering inside me seemed to fade away, and I remembered the man I once respected. To think the dreaded Black Wolf was a mere plaything of the Ascians, who left him broken and disgraced, having sent thousands of his men to early graves. That's more than most could bear, and now the lives of the children he raised hang in the balance. Any personal grievances I have with Gaius can wait. I'd best gather what information I can on the Ruby weapon, but I'll be back as soon as possible. Alright. Gaius. If Cid is as I remember him, it will not take long for him to finish investigating the remains of the Ruby weapon. He never was one to waste time. And he's back. My engineers are still in the field, but there's something I thought you should know right away. It's about the pilot. I'm not sure how to tell you this, but... if Melisandre is dead, I only hope she was not made to suffer. Death would have been a kindness. In all my years, I've never seen such a perversion of science and nature. Her body was fused with the ruby weapon's core. Those last moments must have been spent in pure agony as her very life's essence was drained from her. So she was sacrificed to power that infernal machine. We must act quickly if we are to prevent the Empire from committing further atrocities. Ayame, is there any other information you can share with us regarding the ruby weapon prior to its deactivation? Guess we're going to recap the battle. Nail Van Darnus. Did the Legatus mean that much to Melisandre? From what I gather, it sounds as if data based on Nail's combat abilities was used to override the pilot's consciousness after she was fused with the core. If this technology is perfected and the Empire begins implanting the memories of renowned warriors such as the White Raven into its soldiers, the Alliance won't stand a chance. Is such a thing even possible? It's more or less how soul crystals work. Yeah, the soul crystals that we use for the job system. Yes, it seems that such crystals are in common use throughout Eorzea, an ancient but effective means of passing on knowledge from one generation to the next. While it may bear some similarities, we won't know for certain until we've analyzed the wreckage of the ruby weapon. It cannot be denied that combining the combat data from an experienced soldier with the powers of an icon has yielded remarkable results. But in doing so, the Empire has sunk to the very depths of depravity. This is beyond forgiveness. For once, I agree with you. Yet the question remains unanswered. How were they able to obtain data on someone who was supposedly killed prior to the calamity? Yeah, Nail Van Darnus died before the calamity, which was during the 1.0 times. That's what I'm trying to determine. There is one possibility I'd like to explore, but I'll need to carry out a more thorough investigation first. Severa will provide support while you are in the field. Not only is she extremely well versed in the latest Garlean technology, there are a few soldiers I would rather have watching my back. In the meantime, Vaudelin and I will follow the ruby weapon's tracks back to its point of origin. We'll learn what we can of the weapon project and the manner in which Alphonse and the others are involved. Should we uncover anything of value, we will relay it to the troops stationed here. For now, I suggest you use this lull in Garlean activity to recuperate. Would I be correct in guessing that this belated reunion with those darling orphans of yours has stirred up memories of your time in Garlemald? Remember our agreement, Gaius. If you so much as think of returning to your Imperial masters, I will kill you. Interesting. Alright, we're back here at Porta Praetoria. Okay, report to the Resistance officer. I think we have to go right back in because that's when the next quest starts. Alright, so you put down the ruby weapon. Gods, I wish I could have seen it. Not from too close, mind. I suppose I should report news of your victory to the higher-ups. I realize you must have been through quite the ordeal, but could you give me a quick summary of the battle? Make it sound so easy. From the way you tell it, anyone would think you slay hulking brutes like that for a living. Well, we kind of do. But I'll put all of this into a report and leave a copy over there, should you fancy a bit of light reading. Anyway, I expect you've got more pressing matters to take care of, like going for a celebratory pint. If the Garleans pluck up the courage to come knocking again, we'll let you know. Until then, rest up. Alright, well, that was kind of the end of the initial quest, and then there is the next one. Meanwhile, in the Whirlit Magitech installation. We should have told him the truth. He'd be able to help us. I know he would. That's exactly the problem, Allie. If he knew the true nature of the weapon project, he'd find some way to intervene. We've come too far to back down now. I won't let Melisandre's death be in vain. Even if that means going against Father's wishes. Cheer up, Alphonse. We can all go back to being one big happy family after we dealt with those pesky Eorzeans. It'll be just like old times. If only we're that simple. There's no guarantee any of us will make it back alive. Excuse me, I think you're forgetting whose turn it is next. O ye of little faith, with me at the helm of the sapphire weapon. It'll be over before you know it. Whatever happens, Rex, promise you'll come back to us. I couldn't bear to lose you too. Alright, so this is the next quest here. Sleep now on Sapphire, so we're going to deal with the Sapphire weapon. Naomi, I'm afraid we haven't much in the way of information to share from the front line. We have, however, received word that Gaius wishes to speak with you at the Alliance headquarters. I've arranged an escort to take you to headquarters, so when you're ready to depart, speak with the fellow over there. Alright, so we'll head back on over. Alright, we're going to head on over. And have a chat here with Severa. Good, you're here. The Ironworks have completed their analysis of the ruby weapon, and Sid Garland wishes to share his findings. I take it you can spare a few moments? Indeed. Very good. Please wait here while I inform him of your arrival. Glad you could make it, Ayame. I'm sure you're as anxious as anyone to hear what we've uncovered. Alright, our early hypotheses were proven correct. The Garleans have designed a system whereby a pilot's consciousness can be forcibly supplanted with data based on the memories and experiences of another. So even a rank amateur could obtain the combat abilities of a seasoned warrior? Precisely. And we learned how this was made possible when we opened the cockpit. The monitors were still operational, and among the messages displayed, one particular phrase caught my attention: synthetic aurosite system. Which is what, exactly? Well, the core of the Ultima weapon was referred to as the Heart of Sabik by the Ascians, who we believe it to have been a type of aurosite. I can't say much for the synthetic sort at this stage, but I've encountered real aurosite before. It was extremely potent, perhaps equal in power to the Heart of Sabik. It's unclear whether the Garlean simulacrum possesses the same properties as the genuine aurosite, but I intend to follow this avenue of inquiry to see where it leads. What we do know is that it was used to implant the combat data of Nail van Darnus into the pilot, who has been presumed dead since before the Calamity. Are you any closer to discovering how they were able to retrieve this data? The link didn't occur to Gaius at first, but he later told me of devices fitted to the Magitech armor of the Empire's high-ranking officers. There is reason to believe they were designed to emulate the soul crystals used throughout Eorzea. Yes, that was rumored to be his true purpose, but was never publicly acknowledged. Perhaps those in the upper echelons of command wanted to avoid comparisons to the so-called savages they were meant to be conquering. There's also the question of whether the system even functions as intended. Is it supposed to kill the pilot? From what we've seen, we can assume they were successful in gathering combat data of those wearing armor equipped with the device. If the comparison with soul crystals is valid, perhaps this data was transferred via ether. However, it seems that it extracted not only memories relating to combat, but the soldier's very essence. As you saw, the pilot succumbed entirely to the will of Vandarnus. Not entirely unlike the method that we used to bring the Scions back home from the First. Though it's merely supposition, it's possible that being fused with the ruby weapon's core accelerated the process and caused the deceased legatus to manifest in corporeal form. Could it be that the death of the pilot was caused by the system malfunctioning? It's hard to say. The ruby weapon itself was still largely intact when it deactivated, but strongly implies that it was the synthetic Arasite running amok that killed her, rather than the damage incurred during the battle. But even after our analysis, I'm afraid we still don't have enough information for now. Perhaps we should consult with Gaius as to our next plan of action. Alright, Gaius. Vaudolin has come bearing of vital information. I traced the ruby weapon's path back to the occupied territory of Wurlit, which appears to be where it was built. My grasp of geography is surprisingly poor. Where exactly is it? While Alamigo is placed on the western edge of Gimlet, Wurlit lies on the opposite side to the east. It was once a proud and prosperous city until it was brought to its knees by the Imperial invaders. You seem rather well informed. Perhaps I should have taken you with me. I thought that much was common knowledge. It's also where Alphonse and the others were born. And now the weapon project has brought them home. Yes, the place is now rife with Imperials. They have established an airship supply depot in the coastal town of Turncliffe. According to the locals, something resembling one of the weapons was transported there a few days ago. This bodes ill indeed. Were it possible, I would attempt to capture Alphonse and his followers before they can launch an offensive. However, the distance between here and Turncliffe presents a considerable obstacle, and in all likelihood, their weapon will be ready long before we arrive. Approaching by sea would allow us to save time by circumventing their ground-based troops, provided we were able to secure a vessel. Or you could use the Enterprise and take the most direct route of all, as the crow flies. In fact, this is the perfect chance to put my top-secret plan into action. Oh, really? And might I ask what that entails? Oh, yeah. He's got something up his sleeve. It wouldn't be much of a secret if I told you, now would it? What I can say is, there's a starring role planned for you, Ayame. Why so surprised? You didn't think I let you get off that easily, did you? You'll be here soon, so don't go anywhere. Somebody's excited. Alright, so we're gonna have a solo instance. Alright, I see Sid still delights in keeping others in suspense. I can only hope he does not make us wait over long. Alright, let's proceed. What have we here? It's a mech. Here it is, Ayame. I present Garland Ironworks' adaptation of the Ultima Warrior, the G-Warrior. Oh, and you're not even being subtle about the Gundam reference. I know elegant design when I see it. Excavated from one of their ruins, no doubt. Azisla, to be precise. We came across it during the course of our investigations and decided it would be a shame to let it go to waste. Excellent. And you'll be taking this refitted relic to face the enemy head-on, yes? Perhaps my knowledge of the Ultima weapon will be of use. I'm counting on it as it happens, but first we'll need to perform a test run in the simulator before throwing you into battle. Come, we haven't much time. Alright, I get to fly it. Ooh. It even has a beam saber. Because of course it does. Alright. So this is going to be the training simulation. Alright. G-Warrior is armed with a range of weaponry. Now is your chance to learn what it's capable of. Alright, so. What do we have here? We have Ether Cannon. Unexpected damage with a potency of 600, so that should be a ranged attack. Yes. Alright, and then we have Final Flourish combo, which is our melee combo. Alright. Ultima Buster. Unaspect damage with a potency of 1200 to all enemies in a straight line before you. So basically it's a beam cannon. Excellent. Alright, Auto Restoration. Oh no, wait. Ether Mine. Unexpected damage with a potency of 300 to target and all enemies nearby it. Increases target damage taken by 20%. For 60 seconds. Alright, so that's our debuff. So this. Alright, so this is an auto restoration. Restores 40% of own HP and 30% of own EP. So I don't have to worry about EP here. So every attack consumes some EP, it would seem. Finish this thing off. Alright, something a bit more advanced, The G-Warrior also comes equipped with the Pyretic Booster, which defers even more power to its weapons and increases its speed and maneuverability. Power comes at a price. Activating it replaces a huge strain on the G-Warrior, so it must be used in short bursts. But it's best to practice here before heading into battle. Try activating it. Alright. That's this. Oh, that's that. It's this. You'll notice that your movement speed is much improved, but as shown on your monitor, the G-Warrior becomes more and more structurally unstable as time passes. Alright, so press the same button again to deactivate it. So it consumes HP slowly over time. Auto Restoration can mitigate a certain amount of damage incurred, but don't rely on it to carry you through the battle. I'm using the Pyretic Booster to destroy the target. Alright, let's get up to full strength. This time the node will launch wide-reaching attacks in quick succession. so far. So this is used for kind of getting out of the way of things. Excellent work, Ayame. You best deactivate the pyrotic booster while I explain the final trial. Alright. We've covered offense, now to look to defense, and this is where the ethereal aegis should come in handy. This. Unfortunately, you can't keep the barrier up indefinitely as it will drain G-Warrior's power reserves. You might even run out of energy. First, let's try deploying the ethereal aegis. Miner shows how much power is being drained. Don't let it get too low. So this is drains EP here. Alright, for last trial, we'll use the ethereal aegis while attempting to destroy the target. Unlike before, there's no way to escape its attacks, so you'll need to weather them using the barrier. Alright. Well, first things first, let's throw this on. Okay, so there's no, like, telegraph there. You're natural. Alright, that's everything. Time to end the simulation. Alright, so there we are. We now have our own Gundam. I'll take it. Oh, it's close there. Alright, but I think this probably will go ahead and stop for today, so we'll head on in and get the real battle with the Sapphire weapon started for next episode. And then see how things go there. Alright, so for now, hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Go ahead, like, subscribe, and comment, and I will see you next time.